Story that has direct impact with the consumers, and it seems like the week-long IndiGo crisis finally seems to be moving towards a degree of stabilizing. From nearly 1,600 cancellations 5 days ago, today the airline said that there were only 420-odd cancellations through the day. A day after citing minor technical glitches, winter schedule changes, and adverse weather as the factors behind the large-scale disruptions, IndiGo's CEO, Peter Elbers, today put out another video. He announced the stabilization of operations. He was also summoned, by the way, to the ministry, where he was seen giving an explanation to the minister. The pictures have been put out by the minister's Twitter handle. There you go. Those were the pictures put out by the minister's Twitter handle. He's been read out the riot act, is what we are told. But at the end of the day, will heads roll? That is the critical question. A colossal screw-up happened. No one has been held accountable for it. And that is the bottom line. Will the ministry intervene? Will the DGCA intervene to hold people accountable for the time loss, the money loss, the reputation loss, and just the absolute inconvenience that was caused to all of these paying public who paid for their tickets in IndiGo and were shortchanged? I want to play out some reactions and then we'll open this up as well.
Following our earlier communications, today I'm here to share that your airline, IndiGo, is back on its feet and our operations are stable. We've let you down when a major operational disruption happened, and we're sorry for that. We could only fly 700 flights. Thereafter, gradually yet steadily improving to 1,500 on 6th, 1,650 on 7th, 1,800 yesterday, and today more than 1,800. Earlier, we had indicated to normalize between the 10th and the 15th of December. I can confirm now that today, as of December 9th, our operations are fully stabilized.
All right, if you look at the sort of graph of the cancellations over the last week or so, it started off with 550 flight cancellations that happened last Thursday. That's when it sort of really started blowing over. And then on Friday, which was the worst day in the last week, there were 1,600 cancellations. Remember, IndiGo flies about 2,300 flights a day, more than half of which then got cancelled on Friday. So the Friday was the worst day. Progressively from Friday onwards, it has been getting better and better in terms of the flights that they were able to operate and the flights that had to be eventually cancelled. On Saturday, that number got halved from 1,600 to 800. Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, today, which is relatively the best day, there were 422 cancellations. And you heard from the CEO, Peter Elbers, who was also summoned by the ministry earlier on today, that he believes that from tomorrow onwards, which is the 10th of December, all flights will be operated. But there is a critical thing that has happened, and the minister has announced this, that the extra 10% flights that they got because of the winter schedule, and IndiGo runs almost a near monopoly in a large number of these routes, those 10%, that extra 10% has been cut off now from IndiGo. So the centre cracking the whip, but it does seem too little too late. There are financial penalties for non-compliance. They are yet to decide on how much fine IndiGo should pay. That is a critical factor one will have to watch out for. For now, what they have done is a 10% curtailment. Remember, these were extra load, extra routes that IndiGo said that they were willing to fly in the winter schedule. That has now been taken away largely from IndiGo. Whether or not those routes will be given to other airlines, we'll wait and see. The third and most important thing, the action on the top management of the airline, the CEO, the other board members. Again, the government, the ministry, the DGCA has not decided anything on that as of now. The investigation is currently on into the manpower audit, which is currently underway. IndiGo has to report back to the DGCA with a fortnightly review on how they plan to recruit the additional pilots that are required to meet these new FDTL rules. Again, the question is, it's been a week now. Yes, things are stabilizing. Yes, the operations are getting back to a degree of normalcy. But who will be held accountable for what happened over the last week? Now, if the new safety rules by the aviation watchdog DGCA, which really seems to be the trigger point, the flashpoint, then why is it that IndiGo was the only airline that was hit? And that too a month after the rollout. No other airline was hit. Air India was fine, Akasa was fine, other private airlines were fine, but only IndiGo was hit. Number one could be the sheer size of IndiGo operations. They operate more than 2,200 domestic and international flights on a daily basis. That is twice the number of its nearest competitor, which is Air India, which operates about 1,500 flights or so in a day, a little less than that. Now, with such a massive scale, even 10 or 20% of delayed or cancelled flights effectively means that 200 to 400 flights are either cancelled or delayed. And that in itself can be an ordeal for thousands of passengers. On average, if a flight carries anywhere between 180 to 220 or 230 passengers, that means 200, 300 flights being cancelled in a single day can be massive chaos. Another key factor is that IndiGo used to position itself as a low-cost airline but a high operational efficiency airline. High-frequency overnight operations, the airline capitalized on maximizing its flight hours and minimizing its downtime. That is, of course, at odds with the new FDTL rules. So did IndiGo get away with a mere 10% curtailment as far as the punishment so far is concerned? So far, they've not announced any penalties on the airline. They've not announced also any heads being rolled.